He's kind of being fussy, so.
No worries.
Well, I feel like it's been forever since I've been on a team call. I don't know why, but maybe because it feels like it's the longest month ever. But anyways, Kelly and I are going to be talking on some topics tonight, just like challenge groups, and just keeping your funnel full as far as that goes. I know most of you guys right now more than likely have a plan set up as far as challenge groups go for December and going into the new year. But I kind of wanted just to touch on give you guys some more ideas here. And let me just pull up my notes here. So just let me tell you guys what my plans are for the rest of this month and then December and then going into the new year, just to give you guys some ideas and where you can start brainstorming some for your challenge groups for the new year and all that. Our team is going to be doing what's called a 21-day holiday hustle, and we're not going to make it program specific or anything like that. We're just basically, if you're doing Beachbody On Demand or Shakeology or that kind of thing, then that group is going to just help people get through the holidays. So we're starting that next week as far as like a prep week goes, and then running that through December. My plan is not to we typically do like a 10-day challenge, and I'm sure you guys do something similar to that. I don't plan on doing that. I kind of just plan on start working on hammer and chisel invites, because that's coming out December 1st, which I'm super excited about, because that's going to be my first program that I do come January. So plan is trying to get all those orders in and everything. I told you guys she's going to get fussy. Trying to get all those people on board for that. But some other ideas that I kind of came across is doing like a Beachbody, the Beachbody On Demand. You could call it like a holiday sampler type thing, and do like a different program every day. And I thought that was kind of cool, something to run, through December, try to get people's interest in going into the new year. Also like a 12 days of Christmas. I know we've done that in the past. And I do have a guide for that and actually a meal plan for that. So I'd be happy to share that with anyone who wants to use that kind of thing. And of course, like the New Year, New You, that's kind of going to be our theme for January, to kick things off. You can also do something like, like a cleanse after Christmas type thing, doing like a 3-day cleanse before the new year. I know a lot of people are probably, overeat during Christmas and then, want to do something to get back on track. So those are always some options. But, just think about unique ideas as far as that goes. And if someone hasn't done it already, chances are it'll probably be a good thing to try. But just brainstorm before you start on those kind of challenge groups. Talk it over with your team or maybe somebody that you want to run it with, and decide what dates you want to kick off your challenge group, what your requirements will be, what date will you end the group, are you going to offer some kind of prize? I know last year with our 12 days of Christmas, we did like a cash prize. We had them buy in, actually. I think they bought in. They paid like $5 to get in the group. And then whoever, I can't remember what the determining factor was. It might have been like a weight percentage that they lost. Whoever had the highest weight loss percentage got that money. And that was kind of fun. Just because people want, like cash. So, and getting cash before Christmas is exciting too. So that actually worked out really well. And then just, how you're going to invite to it. I've gone back and forth. I've done events, setting those up. I just did one for the holiday hustle and I got really great response from it. So you can always do something like that. And I think that works really well with like the free challenges too. And also like if you're wanting to do some kind of like buy-in type challenge, those are, you know, kind of some ideas. I know I'm kind of talking off the top of my head, Kelly. Kind of distracted with Ava.
Sorry. No, these are all good ideas because I don't know. I always feel like I kind of get stuck in a rut with challenge groups. And the other thing is too, is I don't like to run like a million different challenges because it's hard for me to keep up with.
Yes.
So I kind of have to do what works for me
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
schedule. But
Absolutely. And we always do something different in December. For some reason, I don't feel like I ever run like the normal, because we usually do like a 10-day and then a 30-day type of thing. And that's the schedule that I stick to personally. And I always tell my coaches, do what you want to do, but I can only handle this.
Yeah.
So this is what I do.
Yeah. So for our team, we have one starting the 30th. So right after Thanksgiving, that will be our 30 days. So that will run through December. But I was just going to use December since Hammer and Chisel comes out. Strictly, you know, just getting like a test group together for that and starting at the 4th.
That's my plan too. Yeah.
So, and then I think usually what I do is run a separate challenge group as well for January for those people who, because you're gonna have New Year's is like a huge. This is our season. This is our season, people. So be ready for it. But that's why it's so important to like use December. I mean, December is kind of a hard month because there's a ton of holidays and people just kind of throw in the towel, so to speak, kind of give up. So it is hard, but having them, you know, really taking advantage of the month and planning ahead. This is a great time to really plan ahead because you're going to want to catch these people in December and catch them before Christmas. You want to, you know, really start inviting the beginning of December and get them, you know, ready to go, because if you wait too long, you got the holidays and, you know, you're not going to be able to, you know, get in contact with people because they're too busy, or, you know, they have family time and they're just not thinking ahead. So really use this time to strategize and start inviting either right after Thanksgiving and right into the beginning of December so that you're ready.
Yeah. Even offering some kind of incentive. I did that last year in December, and that really helped too. You know, kind of like with the 21-day fix, offering the Fix8 cookbook type thing as part of that. Kind of like a, you know, holiday special type thing. Yeah,
or you could even do, you know, for those of you who have hit Success Club, like I've got like P90X like coming out of my ears. So I was thinking of doing something with that. So if you have that, and that's something too, you know, a bunch of coaches can go in together as well and offer an incentive as well for either your challenge group, or you could even do for like people who buy a challenge pack can be in a drawing to win something like this as well. Don't feel like you have to give it to everybody, but incentives, especially, you know, November and December seem to be harder months, you know, just to pique people's interest. So,
yeah, no, definitely for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned that P90X and the P90X too.
Yes, this going to be this challenge is a prize at the end.
Well, I'll kind of let you take it over as far as, you know, keeping your kind of fuel full. I can't even talk.
Okay, so tonight, all right, so you guys should all be really proud of me, okay? Because you all know, like, I'm terrible with technology, okay? But I figured out, like, my computer has PowerPoint. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see how hard this is. Super easy. Okay, so I did PowerPoint for all my emeralds out there. Okay, yay.
I'm excited.
So now let's see if I can figure out how to share it. Okay, so sharing. Ooh, I can even do it in the PowerPoint. Can you see me? Can you see it? Oh my God, look at this. It's like I'm a real professional here. Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk about keeping your business funnel full, because I know this is a huge problem with a lot of people. You know, it's a big struggle, especially with not brand new coaches, but coaches who have kind of been doing it for a little while and they've kind of run out of their hot market or their warm market and they just don't feel like they're getting anywhere with their invites. This is where you guys need to start focusing on. So we're going to be talking about how to add contacts, building relationships to keep that funnel full so that you always have a list of people to invite. Okay, so what do I mean by keeping your business funnel full? Basically, it's always adding new contacts. Every single day, or at least every week, you need to be adding new people, friending new people on Facebook. If Facebook is where, you're doing your business. Instagram, I don't really know anything about that. So you're going to have to talk to somebody else about that. So sorry, I can't be an expert in more than one area. So Facebook, so adding new people constantly to Facebook. And then not only that, but starting to build those relationships with people. So finding new contacts through social media. I'm going to talk about different ways to find new people, either through groups or whatever. And also finding new contacts when you're out and about, or AKA actually talking to people. I know this can be scary for some people, but we do meet new people face to face as well, and why it's important. Okay, so what does inviting actually mean? So we always talk about, the rule of thumb is to invite 2 people a day, or reach out and build 2 relationships a day. But the key word that I think a lot of people don't focus on is building relationships with 2 new people a day, because it's really easy to get, every day, like we're sitting down, we're building relationships, but a lot of times I think a lot of coaches are building relationships with like the same 20 people. So the point of adding new contacts is to build a relationship with them so they go from being your cold market to your warm market to eventually your hot market. So what the goal of that is when we're meeting new people and we're adding new contacts to Facebook, the goal is not to invite them right away. We don't want to, I've gotten messages before from people who, who had just befriended me or whatever, and they're like, hey, do you want to buy, like, no, they're all yours. Okay, sorry. They're eating dinner. So let's see, where was I at? Oh, so I've gotten messages from people that have literally like just friended me. I have no idea where they are, and they like immediately send me a message that like asks me if I want to buy like Mary Kay or whatever. We don't want to do that, okay? Because first of all, ew, and that's just not what we're doing. I'm good, thank you. Okay. Okay, we'll be done taking it. Okay. All right, sorry. Okay, so what we want to do is when we bring these new contacts in, we want to have them so that they are going to be on our invite list for like a month or 2 months 2 months from now. So basically new people that I am, you know, friending on Facebook and meeting and starting to build a relationship with now are on my list for like January and February to start inviting, because I want to take the time, really build the relationship. Unless, of course, you're going to have some people where you just really click with right off the bat, or you guys have a lot of common, and you can build that relationship a lot sooner and invite them a lot sooner. But basically what you want to think about is friending people now so that 2 months down the road, you have a whole new list of people you can start inviting. Hold on just a minute. You guys, let me go downstairs, please. So basically what you want to do once you start adding new people to your Facebook page is reaching out, saying hi, and building the relationship. Now, one of the easiest ways to do it, at least for me, is you need to stay organized, because, you know, if you're adding 2 or 3 people a day, or you're adding like 5 people a week, it's really easy for these people to kind of get lost in the mix, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't even know who half these people are. So it's really important that you stay organized, so that you do have an organized list every single month that you can start inviting off of. So the easiest thing I have found is to actually place them in a interest group, and you can do this on Facebook real easy. So anybody, every week I kind of go through and see who I've recently friended, and then I'll add them to my interest group. And you can do this if you go to the left-hand side of your Facebook. It has a little thing, it's like 4 or 5 things down that says friends. Click on that and you're able to create different groups. And so I just create a group that I have labeled forming, or you can label like potential challengers, or whatever you want to call it, and I just add them on there. That way I can go straight to that, and it's kind of like a more isolated news feed. So it's just a news feed of people that I'm building relationships with. That way I don't get lost in the news feed of just regular day-to-day Facebook, and I'm like, oh, Jamie's like got a new boat. And you're like, that doesn't help me though, So this keeps you more focused, so that when you sit down for your power hour, you can say, I'm going to spend 10 minutes today forming. You just click on that and you can scroll through and you can start liking and you can start commenting on people's posts and stuff, and start showing up in their lives. Because why is this important? Because when we start doing that, our posts are going to show up in their lives. And this is a really easy, indirect way to kind of build that relationship, get that relationship going. So they start to see you more, you start to see them more, and then pretty soon after a little bit you can find things that you have in common with them, and you can start a conversation with them. So also what is important is to make sure you keep up a follow-up list as well. So I also like to make a paper list of new contacts that I've had. That way I can kind of go through every day and like focus on like, okay, today I'm going to start forming 10 people. So I'm just going to go through the first 10, and I'm going to go onto their Facebook page, and I'm going to start liking or commenting and finding some things that I have in common with them. And that's the other thing too, is when I friend new people, I always go to their personal page, and I'll kind of scroll through it for a minute and kind of see who they are. Are they a person who likes to post a lot? What their interests are. Some people just like to share things, share other people's posts. Some people are very active on social media. I'll kind of see what they're into, if they have kids, all that kind of stuff. And I'll start to see where I can relate to them, because, with everybody, you can always find a way that you can relate to them some way or another. So that's what I'm going through. I'm just kind of going through to try to see who they are as a person. And if there's any posts that they have that kind of stand out or something that's easy, I always try to look for an easy way to start showing up in their life through a comment. So especially if people start asking advice for things, you know, like, oh, what's a good vacuum? You know, that's definitely something I'm going to post on right away or comment on, because, you know, that's not kind of a weird, you don't want to be like super weird when you first friend somebody you don't really know and then like share, you know, post something and it's like, that's a little too much. So kind of do something that's an easy in and then gradually build in, because once you make that comment or that like, you're going to start showing up in their newsfeed, like I said. And then, you know, after that happens for a couple weeks, you're not going to be like weird. They're going to be like, oh, like, what's Kelly up to today? And they realize like, oh wait, I don't actually know Kelly. You know, so that's what kind of we want to do, is we kind of want to get our, you know, our foot in the door and really start to get to know them and build that relationship through Facebook. So the goal is, like I said, you don't want to get in there and just blindly invite people because it's icky. You know, you're going to get a lot of no's, but you want to just find ways to start building that relationship. And if you see some posts that really stand out to you that you can really relate to, then send them a personal message and just say, hey, like, you know, let's say they have dogs or whatever. You know, I saw somebody I just added had a German Shepherd that looked just like mine when he was a puppy. And I, you know, messaged her and I was like, hey, like, I loved your, you know, the pictures of your dog. It looks just like mine, but he's 12 now. And, you know, he had a floppy ear too. And, you know, it finally went up when he was like 2. But anyways, just like a little thing like that where we instantly have that thing in common, you know, that not a lot of people do. So look for things like that and start to build a relationship from it. So, the important thing, though, is that you do this consistently, because what's going to happen is, you know, for new coaches, it's easy. You know, you've got your entire friends list. That's kind of your warm and hot market. So you have people that you can reach out to right away and start inviting. And, you know, that's great because it's, you know, you can probably hit Success Club the first couple months. But the longer you do it, and, you know, I have a lot of coaches who are like, I just feel like nobody, you know, wants to do a challenge with me. When you get to that point and you're saying that, then you know that you need to start bringing new people in. Because if, you know, you've already kind of hit the wall at that point. So why this is important is it always keeps a constant flow of people coming in, so that you always have people that you can start inviting. So a good analogy I heard is that I think really made it kind of click for me is think about, you know, your invites as a deck of cards, and, you know, you want to try to find those 4 aces. You know, those are going to be your yeses. Those are going to be the people who say yes to a challenge group, to a challenge pack. Now, you know, let's say you have your deck of cards and you're going to flip two cards over. You know, those are going to be your 2 invites today. And you're going to have like a king and a 2 come up. You know, those aren't your aces. Those are going to be your nos. So, you know, then you're going to flip over 2 more cards and you're going to have like a 3 and a queen. You know, those are going to be more nos. And then you're going to flip over 2 more and you're finally going to have an ace. That's going to be your yes. And then you're going to flip over 2 more and you're going to have some nos. The more you do it, the more cards you're going to be flipping over. You're going to get your 4 yeses out of those 52 cards, you know, those 52 invites you sent out. But what you don't want to do is, after you have those, is to go back, you know, the next month and go through that card again after you've already taken out those 4 aces and expect to find 4 more aces out of there. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is get a whole new deck of cards and start flipping those cards over until you find 4 more aces. Does that make sense? So I think a lot of people just get stuck in a rut of they're inviting the same people over and over and over again. You're going to wear your friends out and you're going to become that person. So that's why it's important to always keep bringing new people in. Okay, so you've got new contacts. Hooray. Now what do you do? Like I was saying, scroll through their page first. That's the first thing. As soon as they accept my friend request, and it'll show up for the day, it'll have everybody who's accepted your friend request. Just go to their page. And I do this during my power hour when I'm, focused on forming, and get a feel for who they are. What types of things do you guys have in common? And if it helps, take notes as well. There are some that I'll put a star next to because I feel like we have a lot in common. So I'm going to really start focusing on those people. Start commenting and liking on their posts. And if you find some common ground or something that you feel you really can connect with them on, private message them and start a conversation, not about Beachbody, but just about whatever, be normal. Once you get that conversation going, and anything comes up that is a kind of an open door to an invite, put that out there. Don't be afraid to do it. The goal is to plant the seed. So always go into the conversation of not wanting to get a challenger. Go into it with the goal of, I just want to bring it up at some way or another so that it's just, they know it's there. Not that I necessarily want a yes out of it, but that seed is planted, whether it's about a challenge or coaching. And don't be afraid to work through objections as well. I think a lot of people, if, nothing comes of it, or, they don't get a straight yes with it, they kind of just leave it and cross that person off their list. But don't do that, especially if, you've seen they've just had a baby and you're kind of talking about that, and they're talking about how they've, they're trying to get back in shape or whatever, and you can easily bring up, always do the feel, felt, fine method. So relate to them. How did you feel when you were in that situation? What helped you, how a challenge group helped you, and just bring it up in a casual, normal way. And, sometimes they may be interested, like tell me a little bit more. You can work from that. And if they have any objections, then, don't just throw in the towel immediately, kind of work through it a little bit. And we have tons of, examples of that in our Dropbox. Or, don't be afraid to share that conversation on your team page. That's a great way for other people to see how to work through an objection, but also to kind of get an answer. And don't think that you're an expert on it either. I sent out a coach invite a couple weeks ago, and I had an objection of money, and I just kind of went blank. I didn't quite know how to answer it in a way that I liked. So I messaged Kristen and I was like, here's this conversation. Like, I don't know where to go. Like, I'm literally like drawing a blank on what to answer her. And she came back with something like so simple. And I'm like, oh, duh. And I was able to, just from her like couple sentences, be able to come back. And, she was interested in hearing more. And that was from like a no, I don't have the money kind of thing. And it was a great segue to introduce the coaching opportunity. So don't be afraid to do that. That's why we have team pages, is to help each other out. Don't feel like you have to, navigate this on your own. And, don't be afraid to either, because I still ask for help all the time. So, okay. So how can you expand your market? So how can you bring in those new contacts? The first thing is to make sure you're posting consistently on Facebook, because the more you put yourself out there, the more people are going to see you, and the more people you can start adding to your list. So a great way to do this is to keep track of those people that like or comment on your posts, especially any of your fitness or Beachbody related posts. That's something I do all the time, because you'll be surprised. You'll have some people who they're not on your radar at all for an invite, and they've, all of a sudden, like for the past 2 weeks, have liked every one of your Beachbody posts. So those are people I'm going to put on my list and I'm going to invite, because those are the ones that are watching you. So another great way is to tag people, especially your husband. So any kind of Beachbody related posts, about your workout, any of that, tag your husband in it, because then that opens up a whole new group of people exposed to you in a very indirect way. Excuse me. Maybe you can tag, if you're close with your sister or your family, tag them as well, because that's just an easy way to get yourself out there. And make sure you're sharing your story consistently, because the reason for this is it's an easy way to start building that relationship and showing that you are indeed a coach and that you're going on a journey and what that's like, because that's very relatable to people and it builds that trust indirectly without actually having to have a conversation with somebody. But it's also important, especially when you're adding new people constantly, because if we're going to their page and scrolling through, they're doing that to us too. So you need to make sure that, if they scroll through your personal page for 2 or 3 seconds, that it shows that you are a coach somewhere in a very indirect way by sharing your story. And, it shows that you're on a fitness journey. So that's why that's so important. So make sure you do that. If you don't feel like you are, ask one of us or ask a friend to kind of scroll through your page and see what they think, see what kind of story you're telling, and see what needs to be changed. I do this all the time to my own page. I make sure that, I'll realize I haven't made like a coaching related post in like 8 days or something. So I want to make sure that I get that on there, because I'm always adding new people. I want them to know I'm a coach, so that they feel that they can come to me. They know that, because I feel like I'm established enough right now where people are starting to come to me. As a new coach, you're not going to have that. But that's why it's important to get it out there consistently, because now I've established myself enough by putting it out there consistently that people start coming to me and asking for help, or asking, are you a coach? Or, tell me about what you're doing, because they don't quite understand what it is. That's what I want to create. So make sure you're doing that consistently. Okay, the other way to meet new people, I know this is the scary way, is when you're actually out and about, like actually talking to people. As moms, I think this is really easy because there's a lot of activities. So, I meet new moms every time we have a new soccer season. That's a whole new group of people. Any sports your kids are in, swimming lessons, gymnastics, school pickup, PTA, all of these are super easy ways to meet people, and start adding them to your contact list. And, once you start talking to them, or you kind of know who they are, look them up on Facebook, or don't be afraid to ask them if they're on Facebook and try to find them in a normal way. And obviously, once you do that, don't go out and invite them right away, okay? Because you don't want to be that person, okay? So just build the relationship with them first before you invite them. Be a walking billboard, wear and share, wear a 21-day fix shirt or a T25, P90X, whatever it is. You'll be surprised at how many random conversations get started with just that. I remember a couple of months ago, I had taken my kids to get donuts on a Saturday morning or something. I was wearing an Insanity jacket, and the girl was, talking about it, and I got her contact information. Like, as simple as that, by just wearing, something, people are going to ask about it because they kind of know what it is. If you really are into fitness and the kind of group mentality, host a fit club. These are free. They're fun to do. You can do it in a church. You can do it at your house. You can do it in a park if you have nice weather. A stroller group, maybe just getting a bunch of moms together who want to go walking. Whatever it is, like, get a group together of, like-minded individuals who are kind of into the same thing. That's another easy way to meet people. Facebook groups. So any groups that you're a part of. So for me, I'm a part of a couple of military spouses pages. I'm a part of our bases page. I'm a part of our Islands Wives spouses page. I'm a part of a equine group. I'm a part of like a German Shepherd working dog group. Like all these different interests that you have. There are like MOPS groups or parents of toddlers. List the 5 things that you're really interested in and just look them up on Facebook. There is a group for it, I guarantee you. And this is a kind of an easy way to meet new people. So how you go about doing that is, once you're in a group, kind of start look for posts that you feel comfortable posting on, or maybe, a lot of people are always asking advice. That's a really easy way, especially on any military pages. People are always asking for advice, and it's easy to give advice on, that kind of thing. So, I'll comment on things like that and give, my advice, or, what helped me, or what I thought of a certain area, or whatever. And then you can either continue that conversation in a private message with them, or you can just friend request them as well. Because then it's not weird, because you've already had kind of a dialogue with them. So the next thing is to friend request mutual friends. And this is kind of the easiest way to do it. And it is the direction I usually tend to go, because it's super easy to do. I can do it, in 2 minutes. I can go and friend request like 3 or 4 people every morning during my power hour. So what you do is just, Facebook has a little place that says like people you may know, and I just go through there. These are friends of friends, so mutual friends. So what I look for are people that have 10 or more mutual friends in common with me. You don't want to friend request people you have like one mutual friend in common with, unless you know them, or their name's familiar, because chances are they're not going to want to accept your friend request, because they're like, who the heck is this person? So I have a lot, military, it's a small world, everybody knows somebody. It's like, what is it, 4 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. It's the same with the military. So, anytime Facebook says like people you may know, I always have a ton of people. I'll have some people have like 50 mutual friends in common. I'm like, I don't know how I don't know you. But those are the people that I'm going to friend request, because you're going to have a high probability that they're going to accept your friend request, because they're going to see like, oh, I've got like my entire church is friends with you, so you must be at my church. Or, everybody from my base is friends with you, so I must have met you. And, I'm so bad with names that I may know half these people and may not realize it. So you've got to realize that a lot of people are just like me and are terrible with names. And so they probably think, oh, I probably have met her, but I just do not remember her. So that's a really easy thing to do. So just make sure, go through that, look for people you have 10 plus people in common with, and just friend request them. Then the other thing you need to think about too when you do this is you don't want to have too many unaccepted friend requests out there, because then Facebook can start blocking you, or they'll like flag you. I don't know, like you're a terrorist or something, which very well could start happening now with everything that's been going on. So what you can do is go to again, where you have, people you may know on Facebook, and at the top where it says like you have 3 people who have accepted your friend requests, or you have no pending acceptances or whatever, there's a thing that says see pending friend requests. So click on that, and it'll show everybody you friend requested. And then I'll just go through, and ones that haven't accepted my friend request in like a week, I'll delete. And then I'll just go through again later and friend request them again. That way I don't have too many pending friend requests as well. So I know a lot of people are kind of afraid to put themselves out there to people they don't really know. But I think for military, it's kind of easy, because a lot of them are military people. So I don't feel so bad. And, just make sure that you're doing OPSEC on your personal page as well. So Operation Security. for those of you who don't know. So don't be posting like, this is my address, or like, this is where I live, or, you know, here's a picture of my kids at school with the school name and all of that stuff. I feel pretty safe, and, you know, we have like ISIS after us. So, I mean, I just, you know, and obviously you're going to have a lot of creepers kind of friend request you. If there's anybody that looks suspicious or suspect to me, I'm going to block them. So for the most part, if you have 10 or more mutual friends in common, that person is probably okay. So again, but use at your own discretion. Okay, so I think I about killed that one. So another way to do this is using your like pages and ads. This is going to be the way for people who are a little more established, who have kind of gone through their, you know, their hot and warm market on their personal page, and are really starting to just bring more people in. And that's kind of where Jamie and I are at. You know, we kind of use our like page to bring in new blood. So if you're going to do this, or for people who want to use their like page for the majority of the time, make sure you have enough content on your page. You know, make sure you're at least making one post a day. So people, you know, when they come to it, have something to see, so they will want to like it. And start boosting your posts to reach out to more people. And really, you don't have to spend a lot. You can spend like $5 is usually what I do for boosting a post. And you want to boost it for at least like 4 days. And make sure any post that you're boosting is content related to your niche, that your niche is going to find interesting. So the goal of your like page is to bring new people in, and then eventually move them over to your personal page, because that's where you're really going to build a relationship with people. Just because the way Facebook has like pages set up, they don't show up in the newsfeed very often. You know, you have to pay to get it out there. So that's why I like to bring people who have liked on my like page, friend request them, so that they're on my personal page, so that I can start building the relationship from there. I kind of really use my like page just to run ads and to bring, you know, new people in that I can have an easy way to friend request them. So, you know, boosting a post or creating ads, the goal of an ad is not necessarily to sign people up, especially if you're making an ad about a challenge group you're running or a free group, but it's more to attract, so that you can add them to your list. So I think it's kind of easier if you think of it this way, instead of like, you know, you get all excited, you're like, I'm gonna make this like sweet ad, and I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm gonna get like 80 people who are gonna like buy challenge packs from me. That's not gonna happen. Well, probably for top coaches it does, but they have all the glitz and glamour. So for your normal coach, that's probably not going to happen. You know, you're going to get some interest. You're going to, anybody who likes any of my ads, I'm going to write down, I'm going to friend request them. And it has it really easy. You can just click on the people who have liked it, and it has a little thing that says like friend request. And I'll just go down and friend request those people, or ask them to like my page, because that's an easy way to bring them over indirectly. The best way to do your ads is to use the Facebook Power Editor, because you can be very specific on who you target these ads to. So make sure you really include your niche. So when I run ads, I make sure I include like mothers, or like, you know, entrepreneurs. You can even make it like people who like to run with their German Shepherds. Like, you can make it very specific. So I'll just kind of mess around with that. And while you're doing that, it will show like how many people your ad would reach. So you can get very specific, but if you are very specific, it's going to narrow the number of people you're going to reach. So I try to make some specifics stuff, and then more broad statements. So I'll put like people who are into, I'll just put like fitness, or like weightlifting, and then I'll put like mothers of 2-year-olds. And you can do age, you can do country, you can do female, male, whatever. And I'll just, for age, I tend to stick to kind of my niche. So I'll go like 25 to like 45, that's kind of my group. I'm probably not going to want to reach out to like the 18-year-olds. I'm not going to be relatable to them. And I don't want to reach out to like the 50-year-olds because that's really not my niche either. So I'm going to, keep it to like moms who are kind of like at the age their kids are in school, that kind of thing. So there are lots of things you can do with that. So don't be afraid to go back there and just kind of play around with it. And that's a lot of what I do. And every time I run an ad, I'll kind of go in a different direction and see what niche, what type, what group does a little bit better, and kind of narrow it down from there. Okay. The next thing is creating an event, and Jamie's really good at this, and it is something I have never done. So, but it's something that I'm going to start doing because a lot of other coaches, as Sherry Beasley, if any of you guys know her, she is just like a normal person, but that girl signs like 6 coaches a month by like creating events and running ads. So, and you look at her page, there is nothing special about her. I mean, that's what's so awesome about it is like some people you can say like, oh, she's so pretty, or, oh, she's really good with like her graphics. But Sherry's just like, she's just like a normal mom. It's awesome. If there's no like glitz or glamour to her, nothing, she doesn't have like this, like, pose with like the jewelry and the makeup and the big hair and the wigs. Like she doesn't have that. It's like her and her like tank top, and she's like signing 5 or 6 coaches a month. That's it. So obviously there's something to it. She's got it down. And what she does is she creates events, and it's just a way for her. She doesn't create these events to, sign up coaches or to get Success Club points. She does them strictly to attract new people. That's all it is. And she adds them to a list, and then she's going to invite them, a couple months later. She's just planting the seed. So ads are easy. They're free. You can do them from your personal page. You can create events for Coaching at a Glance, new challenge groups, new programs releasing. Jamie, one of your coaches, was it Chastity? Had created an event for like Hammer and Chisel. Here's a sneak peek for Hammer and Chisel. Totally free. People can go to it if they want. You can sponsor this as an ad on your like page, or you can just do it from your personal page for free. You can create an event for anything. If you're running free challenges, definitely create events, because this is an easy way to kind of reach out to a ton of people, and it doesn't require you trying to sell people anything. You're just trying to showcase what you can do as a coach and what you offer people. So the goal is just to find new leads. And it's also an easy way to kind of engage your cold market from your personal friends as well, because I have like 800 and something friends, and 400 of them I haven't even talked to. So that's going to be my cold market, and this is the easy way to engage them. For those events that you create on your personal page or on your like page where you're getting new people in, when they reply to your event, what you can do then is have them accept your, let them know, hey, I'm sending you a friend request. This is how you're going to get in the group. That way you can kind of take them from your event into your free group or whatever. They have to friend request you or accept your friend request. So that's an easy way. It kind of tears down that I'm afraid to, I don't know you kind of thing. So now they know they have to do that for you to be able to add them. And then you can start forming and building that relationship. So the thing you really need to focus on, though, is you need to start building relationships now with people, with your new people, because it's going to take time. So you want to make sure that you're always thinking ahead. So, I have my list of invites for November that I've been working, really forming for the last couple months. And I've got a brand new list of people that I'm going to start adding to my list to invite in January. So always keep that funnel full, always keep adding. And I think the best way to do it and the most efficient way to do it is to stay organized with it, and whatever works for you. Some people put it in like Calendly or whatever that's called. I don't do anything that requires a computer with keeping track of stuff, because that takes me way too long. And then I would probably not be able to figure out how to use it. So I do paper. I have a notebook that I have full of names, and I have like follow-up lists and challenge group, who have said yes, who I've followed up with twice. And it's just, this is how I do it, very old school. So, find what works for you. If you're very techie, use a computer. I know like Kristen Sharp uses a computer and it like reminds her or something. I don't know. That's like way too much. That would take way too much time for me, so I don't want to do that. So I like to write it down in my notebook. So do what works for you, but the key is to keep organized, because that's going to make you be more efficient during those power hours. Because it can be really easy to get overwhelmed, or you're like, I don't know where to even begin because I'm so disorganized. I don't know who half these people are, and it can be frustrating. So it really helps if you keep a detailed list to keep you on track. So does anybody have any questions? Look at that. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that, Jamie.
That was really good.
Jamie, I don't know if you want to talk about events. Like, that's something that a lot of people it's kind of the trends people are going to. I don't know a lot about it, and it's something I'm going to kind of try to figure out, baptism by fire, I guess, this next month, and see how that goes. But if that's something that you guys, I don't know. I know a lot of people have they have a link, like learn more when they create events. Like, I don't know how to do that. But
I have mine set up. So I have through MailChimp, and see, I haven't used it in a while just because I need to get back on track with all that stuff. But yeah, mine had a link to like MailChimp, where they could read more information. Or sometimes I don't even have to create an event. I can post that like on my personal page about a challenge group and have that link there. And then there's a form for them to fill out where if they're interested in it, and then I can just go to my MailChimp and automatically reach out to them. But what it also does, it also puts them on my mailing list too. So they're put in my mailing list, so they'll know, like, if I send out anything during the month, anything about new programs or anything like that, they're already on that mailing list.
Yeah, and that's been a goal of mine too. Like, I actually have like contacts in MailChimp, but I just haven't sat down to really figure out how MailChimp works.
Yeah, and it is pretty easy once you figure it out, and then setting up those forms and stuff, which is really cool. I don't know, I really like that part of that.
Yeah,
I do pay for that too. I believe I do pay for that.
Yeah, and
it's not that much.
Yeah, remember, guys, too, like, anything that you are paying for, for the business, I pay for PicMonkey, so I have more graphics, or I pay for Hootsuite so that I can be able to do more with it. Like, all of those are business expenses, so keep track of that stuff, because at the end of the year, those are tax write-offs as well. So, and you don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money to do it either. If you use your money wisely, you can do a lot, but you just can't really just on a whim, I'm going to spend $10 to boost this post. Make sure you really have a good strategy in place. And if you need help with that, don't be afraid to ask. And if we don't know the answers, then I will find somebody who is an expert on it. So don't be afraid of that. Christine has a question. Okay, so how many people am I forming with at one time? So I have, I've added I've been, this is something I've been really focusing on, is adding new people, because I kind of slacked on it and then I kind of hit the wall, and now I'm like playing catch up. Because I felt like I literally, I don't have anybody else I can invite, because I went through my deck of cards and I was like, crap, I need to go to the store and buy another deck. That's kind of how I was at. So, so I am back, being very efficient and consistent with adding new people, and I'm doing it strictly through doing that mutual friends thing. So I probably have about 40 new people that I'm working through right now. And Eva and Christina, like I said, I put them on a piece of paper. I write them all down. When they accept my friend requests, I'll just write them down. And then during my power hour, I'll kind of focus on 10 a day. More if I have time, less if I don't. And I don't include weekends. This is my 5 days a week. I'll focus on 10. So I'll literally just go to their personal page, scroll through it, see things I can comment on or like. And that's what I do for forming. I'm not sending out 30 personal messages a day. And, some coaches, they do a lot of private message. I don't. I really like to build relationships strictly through my personal page, and commenting and liking on people's posts, because I think you can build a pretty good relationship with people that way, and it takes way less time. So yeah, so I'll do 5 or 10 a day, and I'll just check them off and then draw a line when I've done those 10, and then I know, when I wake up tomorrow, these are the next 10 I'm going to go. And, some people aren't active on Facebook. Those are going to be harder. But I'm really going to start focusing on people who have a pretty good presence on social media. And then I'm going to make sure that I really highlight people who I have a lot in common with, or it's pretty easy to build a relationship with them. And you'll notice that, when you have new people that come in, you'll be like, oh, they have German Shepherds. I instantly love them. So it's easy. Obviously, I have a lot of people with German Shepherds, so it's kind of my niche. So, and it's easy for me to talk to them. So that's how I do it, and I understand how it can be really overwhelming, and that's why staying organized is so very important. Because I know that struggle, and that's kind of where I was, and that's where, I was talking to Kristen, and, she's like, I'm organized. I just have a follow-up list. I'm like, oh, you're organized and have a follow-up list. That's so simple. And then you actually do it, and you're like, oh, it is so simple. So that really is, no, Christina, I don't, because I've almost given mine away a couple times. Anyways, yeah, so the key is just find, if this is something that you struggle with, this is something, if you want to build a business, you have to be good at this. There's no way around it, because like I said, you can't keep inviting the same people over and over and over again. So you got to keep, or if you're just feel like you're hitting a brick wall after brick wall and everybody's like, no, because everybody has said I just my friends don't want to do it. Everybody has said that, or I just don't feel like I have anybody who I can invite. Well, then this is your answer. You need to go out and bring new people in. So it really is the key. So you need to find a way that works for you, however that is. And, if you are really good at adding 30 people a day, then do that. But if you can't, I can't do that. So I'll just try to do 2 or 3 people a day, or maybe 5 a week, so that I can really focus on that, so I'm not overwhelmed. So find that balance that works for you, and just be consistent. You just have to be consistent with it. And don't feel like it has to take 5 hours a day. If it's taking that long, then you need to change something. And that's why, for me, I can't do those private messages. I'll do it with some people, but a lot of people, I've built that relationship strictly through commenting. That's all it is. And then I'm really consistent on sharing my story on my personal page. So I feel like I don't need to do a lot of filler with private messages, if that makes sense. Because when I reach out to them or they come to me, it's all, they kind of know everything. You know, it's just kind of doing the details. So
Something else I wanted to add, when you're talking about that and you're commenting on theirs, and then you start showing up in their news feed and stuff, and say you had posted about a challenge group or an upcoming challenge group on your personal page, and say that they like that. I've even reached out to those people because sometimes they're afraid to even
yes,
reach out to you or even comment on that post.
mm-hmm.
And I've gotten challengers that way. So I'll just reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed you liked my post about this challenge, and that conversation starts that way. It's really somebody that I've been probably been commenting back and forth with, not through personal message necessarily, but that's kind of another.
Yeah, because I'm at the point now where I get people come to me, but it's not like that's how I get my Success Club points every month. No, it's absolutely not. Like maybe like 2 or 3 a year I'll get from people who have like come to me. But a lot of it is just, keeping track of people who have liked my posts, or commenting a lot, or I feel like I have like good engagement with, and reaching out and inviting them. That's all it is. And, I think I've had a lot of people who say like, I'm afraid to do that because then I'm afraid like when I'm inviting them, I'm saying they're fat or that they need to lose weight. But that's not it at all, because I don't invite in a way of, people are like, well, I'm doing a weight loss challenge. I do it more on like, we're focusing on health and fitness, so I can invite the skinniest person on earth or the most fit person on earth and not feel bad about it, because everybody wants to be healthy. And that's what I'm focusing on is, hey, I just want to have a group where we can be consistent with our health and fitness. That's all it is. So it's never been received negatively at all. And for the majority of those invites, they're like, yes, like that does sound like something, I really wanted to do, or, I'm glad you came to me because, my doctor just told me I had to lose 20 pounds, or, I just feel stuck in a rut, but, I didn't want to come to you or whatever. So, you just have to push that fear aside and just reach out to people, especially if you're noticing a trend of them liking your posts. Like, those are absolutely must invites. So, any other questions or anything you want to add, Jamie?
I don't think so. I think you nailed it.
Okay. So PowerPoint?
Yeah, that was really good. And I think Michelle, I can't think of her last name, she has a video that she had put together on how she finds people and adds them, just like how you were talking about, a visual of it.
That's good too. Yeah, and just like anything else, Christina has told me this, like, oh, you've told me to invite like 1 million times, but like one time I'll click like, oh, that's how it is. And, I kind of felt the same way about, how I just, I felt like, I'm like, I just need to add more people. I don't know what to do, even though I do know what to do. But yeah, like, I just got on the phone with Chris. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, obviously it's working. She's like, I just go through my mutual friends. I'm like, oh, so simple, even though I've heard it like 1 million times. So, I'll keep sharing stuff like that too, because sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody else. So I'm not like that. Wah, 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 wah. Become like the mother, you get ignored. So, all right. Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to end this so I can go eat dinner and see if the kids have destroyed downstairs.
Oh no.
No, they're fine. They said they were gonna. They are so cute. They're like, "Mom, you're gonna be late for your meeting." I'm like, "I know." So I was like giving them instructions, like, "When we get home, like, you need to go eat." So, like, I had dinner ready and everything. I was like, "You need to go in and eat." And they're like, "We're gonna like take a shower and we're gonna get our jammies on." I was like, "If you do that, I'll give you like 100 marbles." So see if they've done it. Okay. All right, so I will see you guys next month.
Sounds good.
Okay, it was good seeing you, Jamie and Christine.
Yeah.
Eva, dang it, see, like every time. Sorry, I'll get it. Okay, all right, have a good night, guys.